Great. Well, at this time, we'd like to get our program started, but just a very brief overview. We actually started this program many months ago. If you all remember, we had a virtual summer camp as part of the JapanFest festivities back in July. And as part of the summer camp, we had a very special Japanese mukashibanashi folktale storytelling, where we kind of learned the famous Japanese story of Kobutori Jiisan. And we heard about Mr. Lump and Mr. Hump. We have a new rendition and a new story. But as part of the summer camp, we asked all of our attendees to do some drawings and illustrations and send in their artwork about what they thought the good old man and the mean old man, what they look like, and the ogres, certainly. So we got a lot of drawings that come in, actually over 40 people sent in their drawings, and we actually animated them, made all the drawings move, and then we had a very special voice actor to do the renditions of what the nice old man and the mean old man sounded like. Of course, the ogres, right? So, but to help introduce the program and the story, I would like to ask Miss Liz Bigler, who is the co-chair of our education committee, to say a few words. Liz, yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Yoshi, and thanks again to all of our sponsors. And also, I want to thank everybody who sent in the wonderful pictures to help illustrate the story of Kobutori Jiisan, the story of the men with the lumps on their cheeks. We're going to tell a little bit more about how this whole project came together, and we're going to show all the pictures that the kids around the world sent in at the end of the show, because we weren't able to use all of the pictures that everybody sent in, but we will be showing them all at the end. So if you don't see your picture in the animation itself, stay tuned, because we are going to feature them. And we really do appreciate everybody for sending their artwork in, and also for tuning in today. And also, after the show, which lasts about 15 minutes, we're going to roll it in just a couple minutes here. But afterwards, we have a very special guest with us today. All the people who were involved in making the voices and the music and the sound effects and everything that you hear, you guys did the part that we can see, but everything that we can hear, we're going to talk to the people. Spoiler alert, it's just one person who did all of that stuff. The wonderful Dolph Amick from the Center for Puppetry Arts and other places around town who do just amazing work. So we're going to talk to Dolph after the show. But for now, I want you to enjoy your presentation of the men with lumps on their cheeks, Kobutori Jiisan.
This is the story of Kobutori Jiisan. A long time ago, in a village in the mountains of Japan, there lived two old men, Shojiki Jiisan and Ijiwaru Jiisan. Both were woodcutters by trade, and in a strange coincidence, each was born with a large lump on one cheek. Shojiki Jiisan on his right cheek, and Ijiwaru Jiisan his left. Shojiki Jiisan was sweet and hardworking. His lump didn't bother him. He knew that being kind and honest was more important than what a person looked like. He would always dance and sing after a long day's work as he walked through the village with his firewood to the simple house he shared with his wife.
I love to dance when work is through. Ha ha, nico nico warau.
Ijiwaru Jiisan, on the other hand,
What are you so happy about?
Ijiwaru Jiisan's lump had made him bitter and grouchy.
If it weren't for this lump, I could have been famous, rich, the mayor, the governor, not living in this old shack. Blah. Yeah, I'll go cut firewood tomorrow. For now, I'll just take a nap.
One day after breakfast, Shojiki Jiisan picked up his axe.
Farewell, wife. I'm off to the forest to cut firewood.
Don't be gone too long,
said his wife.
It looks like rain. Iterashai.
Shoji-Jiisan danced up the long, steep path that led deep into the woods. He smiled as he looked about at the beauty of the forest, listening to the tweeting of the birds.
I wonder if the birds dance too. Ha ha! Nico Nico Warao. Uh-oh. Ooh, it's raining. I'd better find some shelter. Oh, that hollow tree ought to do. I think I can fit inside. Oh, that's better.
The thunder god was beating his drum, and the lightning god was throwing light spears everywhere. Shoji-Jiisan waited for hours until...
Oh, the rain is stopping. But now the sun is almost down and it's already too dark to find my way home. I know my wife will be worried, but I'm going to have to stay in this tree until morning. Sorry, my darling. I'll try to get some sleep.
Shoji-Jiisan curled up in the hollow tree and managed to fall asleep until late that night.
What? What's that? It's still night, but I see a light. And what are those voices? They're getting closer.
Down the forest path we go. Oni wa kawaii zo. Sing it loud, sing it slow. Oni wa kawaii zo. Fangs and horns and skin of red. Holly leaves and sardine heads. Iron clubs and treasure sacks. Carried on our mighty backs.
Give us all your jewels and cash.
Or with our clubs we're gonna bash.
And once we have your worldly goods, we're off to party in the woods.
Down the forest path we go. Oni wa kawaii zo. And now to dance by fire glow. Oni wa kawaii zo. Oni wa kawaii zo.
Shoji-Jiisan felt a shiver run down his spine. It was a band of fearsome Oni, demons who lived in ancient Japan. They were huge and covered with bright red leathery skin. They had fangs and horns, and they all carried giant clubs. Everyone knew what they did with those clubs. They bashed people. Then the biggest, scariest Oni shouted at the others.
Halt! Here's a good spot. Let's stop right here in front of this hollow tree.
Yes, Your Highness.
Shoji-Jiisan held his breath and kept as still as he could.
Oh my goodness, they're right outside.
We'll split up the treasure here. But first, let's eat. You use your magic to start a fire and cook us some food.
Right away, Your Highness.
And you three, get out your instruments and play us some music.
Yes, Your Highness. Let's tune up.
Inside the hollow tree, Shoji-Jiisan put his hands over his ears.
Oh, what a horrible sound.
Oni Suzu.
Shakuhachi.
Taiko. Ichi ni san shi.
Say, that music, it's so bewitching. Oh, it makes me want to dance.
Shoji-Jiisan was enjoying the music so much that he forgot how scared he was. And before he realized what he was doing, Shoji-Jiisan jumped out of the hollow tree and started dancing around the campfire of the Oni.
Hey!
Oh, what in the world?
Oops.
A human.
A human?
Oh, I've never seen one up close. Wrinkly, aren't they?
And lumpy.
Shall I add him to this stew pot, Your Highness? I've heard they taste like chicken. Oh.
Wait, let's not eat him yet. He seems to be good at dancing. I'd like to see some more. Keep dancing!
Yes, Your Majesty. I love to dance, and it would be an honor to perform for you.
Shojiki Jiisan danced like he had never danced before. With every song, he danced harder and harder, and the Oni cheered louder and louder until...
Stop the music! Thank you for the entertainment.
Oh, my pleasure, Your Majesty.
I always enjoy a show before I eat supper.
Huh? Uh-oh.
Shojiki Jiisan's smile faded as all the Oni began moving towards him with their fangs and claws out. But just then...
Your Majesty, the sun! We have to get home before the sun rises over the mountain.
Curses!
I'll put the human in one of the treasure sacks, and we can eat him later.
No, the sacks are too full. He won't fit.
Shojiki Jiisan thought quickly.
Maybe I can meet you back here again tomorrow night. And we could have more dancing.
More dancing? Yes!
I'll just be on my way then.
Not so fast. How do I know you'll keep your word? I know. Give me something that is valuable to you. Then I know you'll come back for it. What do you have that is precious?
Shojiki Jiisan had an idea. Rapidly, he covered the lump on his cheek with his hand.
Oh, I don't have anything valuable with me, Your Majesty.
Wait. What are you hiding with your hand?
Oh, nothing, Your Majesty.
That thing on your face. You covered it up. It must be important to you. Come here.
The Oni King grabbed the lump on Shojiki Jiisan's cheek. Shojiki Jiisan felt a warm tingle, and then, to his utter astonishment, saw the Oni King lifting the lump over his own head.
Ha ha! I hold your treasure in my hand. If you want it back, you must come and dance for us tomorrow night. Let's get going.
Here's your treasure sack, Your Highness.
I don't want it. I have the human's treasure now. Give my sack to him.
Here you go, human. Oh, thanks. Arigato. Nanto arigatai.
Ikimashou. Let's go.
With that, the Oni turned and ran down the mountain, fleeing the morning sun. Shojiki Jiisan just stood there, blinking his eyes.
Did I just dream that?
But as he rubbed his face in amazement, what? My lump.
The lump on my cheek. It's gone. And it didn't hurt one bit. Why, my face is as smooth as a baby's. Wait till my wife sees me. Oh, my wife. I'd better get home.
Shojiki Jiisan hurried home, lugging the sack the Oni had given him. As he bustled through the village towards his little shack, the townsfolk stared in surprise at his smooth cheek.
Hello, wife. I'm sorry that I'm overdue. Oh, ha ha, nico nico warao.
Oh, thank goodness. I was so worried. I thought something terrible had happened.
I'm sorry to have worried you. I'm fine, and you will not believe what just happened. You in there! Open the door!
Hello, Ijiwaru-ji-san.
Oh, hi, Oji-san. Don't you good morning me. The whole town is buzzing about you being gone all night. Where were you? Where is your lump? Well...
And Shojiki Jiisan told them the amazing story of his adventure.
And when I reached up, my face was completely smooth.
Ah, your lump. I never minded it, but oh, look at your handsome face. Yokata, yokata.
Your lump gone? It can't be. But what's in the sack? Huh? Oh, I don't know. I was just happy to escape without being bashed. Well, open it, you old fool!
Why, it's full of jewels.
Gold!
I've never seen such riches.
Ah!
Instead of being happy for his neighbors, bitter old Ijiwaru Jiisan was jealous and started thinking of a plan.
Why should that dancing fool get all the luck? I would like some treasure, too. And I've never liked this lump on my face. I know. I will go back to the Oni tonight and pretend to be Shoujiki Jiisan. I'll finally be rich and rid of this lump. Well, ta-ta. I must be on my way. Very busy day. Very busy. I wonder where he's going in such a hurry.
Ijiwaru Jiisan hobbled as fast as his grumbly old bones would carry him out into the woods.
Aha! That must be the hollow tree Shoujiki Jiisan spoke of. I'll just get inside. Oh! And now all I have to do is wait for those foolish Oni to show up. Oh, I should have brought a pillow.
Sure enough, when darkness fell, the Oni returned.
Oh, what fearsome-looking creatures! Oh, easy, easy. Concentrate on the treasure. The treasure.
The Oni lit their fire and began playing music. And then, Ijiwaru Jiisan sprang out of the hollow tree.
Konbanwa! Oh, it's good to see you. Again.
Oh, human, you've come back. That is very good. Wait, you look different.
Oh, I got a haircut.
Oh,
But it's me, all right.
Well, never mind. We need some entertainment. Dance for us.
So Ijiwaru Jiisan started to dance. But unlike Shoujiki Jiisan, he was not a dancer. He didn't love music, only money. So his dancing was not very good at all. And after a while,
Stop the music.
the night was very still and quiet. Ijiwaru Jiisan was afraid.
Oh.
Well, that was very disappointing. What happened? Your dancing is not as good as it was last night. Not even close.
He is not a good dancer tonight, but maybe he'll taste good. Yeah. Let's try him.
Wait. No, he is too old and bony. I don't want to eat him. And he did give us such good dancing last night. Human, you may go. And because I'm such a kind king, you can have your treasure back, too.
Treasure? Oh, yes. Oh, thank you, Your Majesty.
Don't mention it.
The Oni king pulled something out and slapped it on the side of Ijiwaru Jiisan's face.
Now scram!
Ijiwaru Jiisan was so frightened that he just turned and ran. He went tearing through the brambles and bushes, running blindly in the dark, not even sure where the path to town was, when suddenly he ran into...
Oof! Don't eat me! Oh, why, I would never do that.
Shoujiki Jiisan! Oh, thank goodness!
The townsfolk said you went into the forest without even your axe. When it got dark, I was afraid you might be lost. Lost? Whew! I'm just glad to be alive.
Why, Ijiwaru Jiisan, your face.
Eh? What is it?
Ijiwaru Jiisan reached up to touch his face. On his left cheek, he felt his lump, the one that had always been there. And on his right cheek...
Why, there's a lump on my right cheek now, too. Ah! I'm lumpy on both sides now. The only king gave me your old lump. Oh, my. Well, never mind, Ijiwaru-ji-san. It kinda suits you. Come on, let's get back to town. Phooey! The Oni have their sport with you. Ha ha, Nico Nico Warao. Oh, I had one lump, but now it's two. Ha ha, Nico Nico Warao. Ha ha, Nico Nico Warao. Ha ha, Nico Nico Warao.
Thank you, everybody. Did you enjoy the show? I really enjoyed it. And I want to make a big, huge thank you to Ken Hoadley, who was our animator. He's the person who took all the still pictures and made them move around. Wasn't that cool to see that? And also, of course, to Dolph Amick. And as I promised, we're going to talk to Dolph in a minute. But first, I want to show you all the art that was contributed. So this will be about 3 minutes long with just a few seconds of every one of the pictures that was submitted. So we took the story and broke it into scenes. This whole thing was started by one of our Japan America Society members, Jim Hoadley, who this was one of his favorite stories. And so he said it might be fun. He's on the events committee. I'm on the education committee. And he thought it might be fun to put the story into sort of a theatrical way of doing it. So we took each scene, or Jim took each, he did a preliminary script and took each scene and described it in words. And then we made storyboards, and any children who wanted to could illustrate that part of the story. So then we got all of those stories together or all of those pictures together. And you can see here, we had artists as young as 5 years old, all the way up to, well, I did 1 or 2, and I won't say how old I am, but I was probably the oldest artist. But most of them were kids that attended the summer camp and local children here in Atlanta who go to school. And they just did a great job of capturing the essence of the story, the action and the drama, and just the silliness of how these old men reacted with the Oni. So thanks again to everybody who sent these wonderful pictures. And then we took the script that Jim had created, and we were trying to find somebody who could do the voices. And I remembered an old friend of mine, Dolph Amick, from when I used to work at the Center for Puppetry Arts many years ago. And Dolph is just this amazingly talented puppeteer, actor, musician, voice actor. And I asked him if he would be interested in doing the voices for this. And luckily for us, he said yes. And he ended up doing so much more than that. So Dolph ended up rewriting the script and using some of his talent as a storyteller to make it just a little bit better story. And then he did the voices. He ended up doing the sound effects, the music, and everything that you heard. So how many characters were in this story? Let's see. There were 2 old men, an old lady, and a bunch of different Oni and different townspeople. So how many people do you think had their voices on this? Well, if you guessed 1, I will be amazed, but you would be correct. And Dolph did the voices for all of those. And then, so he made that soundtrack, and then we sent it to Ken Hoadley, who used his amazing talent as an animator to make these still pictures, moving pictures. So now, if you have any questions about how this was created, or if you have any questions for Dolph, Ken was not able to join us today, but Dolph, who did all the music and sound, is joining us today. And there he is. Welcome, Dolph.
Thank you. Minasan konnichiwa.
Oh, wow. You speak some Japanese. How's that?
Skoshi.
Are you a Japanese citizen that or what's your connection with Japan?
When I was in high school, way back in 1985, before most of you guys were even born, probably before most of your parents were born, I was part of a project called Experiment in International Living, and students would go abroad, some to Europe, some to Asia, to live with a family and learn about culture from other countries that way. And so I chose to go to Japan, and I guess I'll go ahead and show you the pictures of me in Japan. I've got just a few pictures of young Dolph from way back when. So if you're seeing that now, I'm moving my cursor around. This guy here, that's me, believe it or not, many pounds and years and hair ago. And this is my homestay family. So what we did was, when we went to Japan, we stayed in a language training center outside of Tokyo in Hachioji. And we were in a language training center for 2 weeks taking intensive Japanese language studies. And then we were put in with homestay families, which meant we got to live with a typical family in Japan. And I was living in Hiroshima Prefecture, way out in the country. And so this was my family. That's me. This is my dad, who was an English teacher. That's my wonderful mom, who absolutely is one of the most amazing people. This is my cousin, my sister's cousin. This is Chinami, who was a good friend. That's my sister Hiroko. This is a next door neighbor. These two girls are girls like I met at the beach, and they came to eat dinner with us one night. They were from Canada. And so I'll just show you a couple pictures of us. Let's see. Here I am in Hiroshima. There's the A-bomb dome behind me. This is, we traveled all around this is part of the inland sea. Here I am climbing at the base of one of the castles. Not something I necessarily advise. Oh, this guy, this is another cousin. But this was my uncle, who was absolutely the funniest guy. He was so great. He was really low key, but had a very dry wit. I really love that guy. This is me at the Footwear Museum in front of a giant sandal. Here I am trying my hand at calligraphy with sumi ink. My dad was showing me how to do some. I was not terribly good at it, but I did give it a try. Here I am trying kendo at my sister's high school. That was exciting. They let me think I knew what I was doing, and then the instructor proceeded to bash me on the head like 12 times before I could even get my sword up. Here I am at the Shinkansen station with them at the end of my homestay, getting ready to leave. And so that gives you just an idea.
That's sweet. So had you ever heard this story before when you lived there? Had you ever heard of this story?
No, this was new to me. It's funny. I had heard of the Oni, but I had never heard this particular story.
Yeah. Okay. I actually had never heard of it either, but like I said, Jim Hoadley said that was one of his favorite stories, and it's funny, isn't it?
It is. It's great. Would you like me to tell you a little bit about how I did what I did?
Yes, I would love that. That would be great.
Okay, so the script had already been put together by a couple of other people, and all I really did was went through and made it a little more like a play with a lot more speaking, a lot more parts. As Liz mentioned, I'm a puppeteer at the Center for Puppetry Arts, and so that was kind of one of the things I could add to it, was having lots of voices. So I just sort of took what was already written and said, well, how would that become dialogue? So that was a big part of it. We added a few little things like the songs. That was
we meaning you.
Well,
right?
Okay, me.
Yeah.
Although I did my best to add some Japanese references and language to it, and then Yoshi and Liz helped curtail that into like, well, that's not really the way we would say it, maybe more like this, or try this instead. And so we kind of refined the language, and I'm super happy how that came out. I do the recording here at home. It's just me.
So, is that your studio behind you?
This is I'm in front of a green screen right now. This is actually a picture of a black box theater in Utah somewhere.
Oh, okay.
I figured it looked like a place that I would hang out, a dumpy theater. But I have a recording studio here at home with lots of instruments. I'm a composer and a musician. I do a lot of music for the Center for Puppetry Arts. If you've seen any shows there like, oh, I don't know, Old MacDonald's Farm or Harold and the Purple Crayon or Pete the Cat or Click Clack Moo, Cows That Type, I did the music for all of those shows, stuff like that.
And also Dolph is an amazing performer. If you've seen Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer at the Center for Puppetry Arts,
Sure.
he is the it was named Cornelius.
Yeah, Yukon Cornelius.
And if you haven't been to the Center for Puppetry Arts, I will just put in a plug right now and tell you that when things get back to normal and we can go see live events again, I highly, highly recommend you go check out the Center for Puppetry Arts if you're here in Atlanta, because it's an amazing place. And you can see Dolph probably.
The museum there is open again already, but we're not doing live performances yet, but we're doing a lot of performances online. So I do a lot of voices for that. So for this, I had the luxury of sitting here and doing voices separately when I wanted to, or just in a row when I chose to do that. As far as the music is concerned, I tried to keep it pretty simple. A lot of the elements you hear are samples from a computer. Like I can't really play the shakuhachi flute, but I did have a shakuhachi sample. We have some what I called oni suzu in there, which are suzu are basically Shinto temple bells that are kind of like a big jingle bell, but they don't go jingle jingle. They kind of rattle a little more.
Yeah, I heard that actually.
But in the script, it said they played some kind of bells, and so Japanese is one of the only agglutinative languages, which means you can take words and put them together to make a new word. So that's where the word onisozu came from. I like the idea that they had their own special bells.
Yeah. Dolph, we have a question from the audience. One of the people who drew some of the pictures. Do you do voice acting? Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do I know that you're a professional actor, and do you do voice acting as your job? And what is your favorite?
I do. It's being an actor in Atlanta. I'm not. I've done a little bit of a little tiny bit of TV stuff like that, but mostly what I do is stage acting. And then because I do have a studio at home and I'm a musician and a composer guy, a lot of times I will I'll do voiceovers from home, or I'll appear on Zoom like I am right now, teaching about puppets or teaching about songwriting.
So that's kind of nice that in COVID you can still be creative at your home and through Zoom, I guess.
Yeah, and we can still kind of communicate with people in a different way. Obviously, it'd be nice if we could all get together in one place and watch a show, but it's also nice that we can be right here and we can see you guys and talk to you guys and be up close in a way that we never could in the theater. So this has its good parts too.
Yeah.
And then I've got a bunch of instruments here. I mostly play guitar, although there's a little music at the beginning of the show that I want to point out that is, there's a little music underneath the beginning of the story. And I wanted to have some shamisen music, which is a Japanese traditional instrument. It's a little bit akin to a banjo, but the body is a little more like a drum. It's fretless. Now I don't own one, but I do own a banjo.
Oh, nice.
And so it doesn't sound the same. It's got frets, unlike a shamisen. But what I did was I tried to, it's also got steel strings and is more resonant. And so it didn't really fit. So I put a towel inside.
Oh, look at you.
To make to damp it a little bit. And I tried to use all downstrokes because the style of picking for a shamisen is very different. You use a big pick. I think it's called a bachi. I might have that wrong. But I used a lot of legato phrasing, which is where you slide notes around to try to approximate the idea that it was fretless. So
Oh yeah, great. That's cool. Yeah, I actually played shamisen when I lived in Japan.
That's cool.
Not well, but I took enough lessons to know what you're talking about. It was very convincing. I actually thought it was a shamisen myself.
Thanks. Oh, we actually, a woman, there was a Japanese troupe came to the center last year, and they had a live shamisen player. and she came and she and I chatted about instruments for a while, and she let me try it and stuff, and you know.
So do we have any other questions from the audience? I know that you had, I think you were going to say more about the kinds of other work, because I know that you're sort of, I don't want to say a jack of all trades because you're so talented, it doesn't do it justice. But
well, Dolph, I have a question from me, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the future of Dolph look like? Any new projects that you're working on, or anything Japan related that maybe we can work on together?
Oh, I would love that. Well, I do a lot of recording at home. So I've been releasing some records under several different names. So I play a lot of different characters. So I have a country act, I have a Renaissance fair act. I guess right now you can find me on Patreon, Dolph Amick. I'm always releasing new music and stuff and trying to find ways to perform during this time. I'm also teaching some lessons online, so feel free to contact me about that. I taught some shadow puppet building, stuff like that. I do songwriting.
Oh,
You know,
wow,
I stay
cool.
busy. People who are subscribed to my Patreon get a little piece of music every month, or I'll make special pieces of music for them, stuff like that. Yeah, and all kinds of artists are on there too, photographers, painters, all kinds of things, people who make videos for YouTube. So, but yeah, that's you can find me there. That's probably the best way to find me.
Okay, great.
And
Yeah,
I'm also looking for new projects. So if you know anybody who who
Okay,
wants to, you know,
how could people get in touch with you besides Patreon?
that's probably the best way. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just Dolph Amick, DolphAmick.
Well, I know that Jim Hoadley is here. I don't want to put you on the spot, Jim, but is there anything that you would like to add to, because you were kind of instrumental in getting this project going. I do want to thank you for this whole idea, because like I said, Jim is on the events committee and I'm on the education committee, and we were like, let's do a Reese's peanut butter cup here and like see if we can put our efforts together and make something cool out of this story that was a favorite of yours, right, Jim?
Yeah, this went very well. It went way better than I was anticipating. Thank you to everybody who worked on it. Thank you to all the great artists, both grown up and youthful. And I think this story kind of makes everybody youthful. It was just great to see the interpretation and to see it put together like this. And I think hopefully we can do another one of these again sometime in the not too distant future, because there's a whole wide world of more Japanese stories that we could do this way as well. So very impressed. Very great work, Dolph.
Thanks.
Although if we do another one, I want to be one Oni voice. So.
Absolutely. This was so great. It was so much. I mean, the artwork was great. The animation was super fun. It was so great collaborating with everybody. It was a really fun project.
Indeed. And again, thank you so much to all the people who sent in the art. That for me, that made it really special, because it was like a real grassroots kind of effort that anybody who wanted to could participate with. And it turned out great. So thank you.
Dolph, we have one more minute or so. Any words of wisdom, any messages of hope for our audience? And then
I will say this. I was sitting in my living room yesterday watching music videos from Japan, and I was thinking what an amazing time we live in. When I was a kid, they would always say, in the future, you'll be able to get on video phone and talk to somebody on the other side of the world. And now we can actually do that, and we can access the art and culture of the entire world from our homes. And I know this is a really weird time for all of us and all of you kids who are at home and maybe away from your regular school situation, but there's lots you can do and create. All of this was created inside at home. And we can still have those great performance experiences and collaborative artistic experiences if we just are creative with how we go about doing it.
For sure. Thank you so much for those words. That's true, though. True. You can go all over the world. You don't need a plane ticket or anything.
It's amazing.
And it's very easy to get tickets to all these kinds of things. Oops. Oh, we have one last minute. Somebody slipped a question under the wire here. Dolph, what's it like in Japan?
Well, that's a pretty broad question, but I will say it was fascinating because we were encouraged to try to assimilate as much as we could, to blend in. And when I got back to America, America seemed very loud to me. It seemed like all of the Americans were shouting at me whenever they spoke. I had to ask my mom to turn the volume down a little bit. I was also there. When I first got there and went into my homestay, I was way, way out in the country in a very traditional home out in a little country village. And I was like, man, I wanted to be in the cool, big, super modern city. But then I talked to the other guys who were doing their homestays in the city. And a lot of those guys were like just going down and hanging out at the arcade all day. And I was like, oh, that's what they did at home. So I was like, man, I really got the cool experience because my family, like, we went to the beach and we went to museums and we went to shrines. And I mean, it was absolutely amazing. That trip was 35 years ago, and it changed my life and has changed my life ever since. So if you ever have a chance to travel to another country, definitely take the opportunity, because it's the way we open our eyes to a bigger picture.
Yeah. And meanwhile, you can do it online, visit other countries.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thanks so much to everybody. Yoshi, do you have any you want to say the final words?
Thank you again for everyone joining. We'd like to also thank our sponsors. One more time, here are all of our sponsors today and all weekend long as we kind of finish out this program. As Dolph and Liz both mentioned, make the best out of this time and get out there and kind of learn about other cultures, especially Japan, and then invest in the arts. Arts is definitely one of the most valuable things that you can kind of invest in, whether you're young, old, or middle-aged. So definitely invest in the arts and kind of get out and kind of learn all you can about music and theater and folktales. So thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you at our next event. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.
Bye. Thank you for coming. Gianni.